Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Black Ops 6. You guys know it's a problem when the franchise is putting out so many bugs that occasionally the bugs end up working out in our favor. Like most of the time, the bugs are just game breaking. Sometimes they're just really annoying. More recently, they're PC breaking, which we will be covering here in this video. But this one right here basically just allows you to skip the battle pass nonsense and try out the new guns. At least while you're playing in zombies. I don't think this works in multiplayer, but that's the footage you guys are seeing here. I signed in for the first time since the launch of Season 2 to see if this bug works, and yeah, it does. So basically all you do is you equip a basic C9 as your weapon within zombies. You then duplicate that base C9 and equip that. From there, you go into a private match in multiplayer, delete the C9 duplicate, equip the gun that you want with any attachments on it, duplicate that, and equip it. Now, when you go back into zombies, any DLC gun you want will be right there and ready to go, and there's no need to grind through the battle pass or challenges or anything like that. It sounds way more complicated than it is, but this is at least one example of how buggy this freaking franchise is. But hey, at least this time it works in our favor. But what does not work in our favor, however, is the Ricochet anti-cheat, causing people's PCs to blue screen and crash, and in some cases brick the entire machine and cause actual damage. I wish I were making that up, but unfortunately I am not. We're talking about the COD franchise right now and bricking people's machines. Yeah, it's that freaking bad. So this is something I was completely unaware of because honestly I have not been keeping up too much with everything as of late, because I think, like a lot of you, I'm just completely burnt out on the state of this franchise. Like, I'm hearing that people's PCs are being bricked, and I'm not even surprised anymore. We've seen so much shit over the course of the past couple of months, I'm numb to it at this point, pretty much. Like, nothing surprises me anymore with this franchise. It just keeps going down and down. But let's go ahead and cover the news anyway, because again, I missed this, and it turns out it's some of the biggest news to come out over the course of the past couple of weeks, because the Season 2 anti-cheat update, which literally does nothing positive for the game, by the way, is causing people's PCs to crash, blue screen, and sometimes even damage the systems themselves. This is especially bad when you consider the reason why this is happening is because of the changes that were made to the anti-cheat with Season 2, and the anti-cheat is doing literally nothing to combat the cheating situation, especially in ranked play and especially within Warzone. I think I heard something the other day that something like 25 or 30 of the top 250 players in ranked play are confirmed cheaters, and Activision is doing literally nothing about it besides crashing the PCs of the legitimate players. Like, what is happening to this franchise right now? I have to question how this is possibly legal or allowed in any way, but I'm sure there's something in the terms of service that we have to agree to that covers Activision's ass. But I am reading a bunch of reports from people claiming that they aren't even going to attempt to play Call of Duty right now because they cannot afford a non-functioning anti-cheat to damage or possibly ruin their expensive machines. It's not like Phil Spencer is going to float you a check if their anti-cheat ruins your PC. You're pretty much on your own when it comes to that, which is only going to further push people away from the Call of Duty franchise. And as we've been covering here in the channel, they really cannot afford to be losing anybody else. I mean, the Steam numbers just keep falling, and honestly, it's just comical at this point. And like we covered in my last video, Bobby Kotick himself, the former CEO of Activision, under oath in court, claimed that PC players make up 25% of the overall Call of Duty player base. So if we remove Call of Duty Mobile from the equation, COD on PC makes up about half of the overall Call of Duty community. Now, I know there's some debate about where people play the game most, Steam or Battle.net, but let's agree to disagree and just call it right down the middle and say it's 50-50. So if Steam is averaging 58,000 players per day over the course of the past month, which is freaking miserable, we can just double that to see that on PC for COD, we have 116,000 average players. Well, like Bobby Kotick said, Call of Duty on PC is half to slightly more than half of the overall COD player base, so we're just going to take that number and double it again to get our Xbox and PlayStation numbers, and we can see 232,000 average players across Call of Duty as a whole right now. That is fucking terrible. That's fucking embarrassing. And obviously I'm being very speculative with these numbers because they don't release them officially, but who remembers that back in the day, they would proudly display their player count numbers across all platforms, and in the case of Black Ops 2, they would have had more active players back then just on Xbox compared to what Call of Duty does right now across 3 platforms and 4 total games. Activision, Microsoft, Phil Spencer himself, I don't care who, somebody, please go on and explain to me one more time why skill-based matchmaking is good for audience retention. I am all ears when it comes to this. Give me your glorious insight as to how 4 full-fledged games across 3 platforms is potentially doing worse than what Black Ops 2 was doing 13 years ago on one platform. And don't give me that bullshit that all Call of Duty games had skill-based matchmaking back in the day. It's such a crock of shit, man. There is a difference between team balancing and skill-based matchmaking. And we all know what skill-based matchmaking is like now. We experience it literally every time we sign into the game. Everybody's stats are pushed towards 1, outcomes are predetermined. And do you guys want to see what stats look like in a game where there isn't skill-based matchmaking? Here's my first time hitting Prestige Master within Black Ops 2. A 205 KD with a 528 win-loss. Not the best in the world, but definitely pretty good. And then the second time I ended up hitting Prestige Master in that game, because yes, player retention was organic back in the day and people played because the game was fun and not some manipulative casino designed to milk money out of us. But the second time I hit Prestige Master, I went in with a 2.56 KD and a 5.95 win-loss. That is what Call of Duty used to be like when you were a good player. That is what gave people the desire to get better, that drive to sink more time into the game, because the reward for doing so was you got to dominate your lobbies. And it wasn't because the game was letting you do that like it sometimes does now, but rather you just saw yourself grow into that top 20%, top 10%, top 5% player in the world in terms of skill, and you were never punished for being good at the game. The more you played, the better you got, the more fun you had. It was a very simple formula, but for some reason, they think it's better to just get rid of that, and nowadays they just manipulate your matchmaking and hand you wins and losses as they see fit. They give you high kill games and high death games on a whim as they see fit, and it's all because they believe it's good for player retention, when clearly it is not. And instead of trying to address that problem or fix it, instead they have chose to just go back on their word, which is really freaking disgusting. And I'm going to wrap this video up here today with this, because we are witnessing what I believe to be the beginning of a long string of really sketchy business practices. Because last year, you guys might remember Phil Spencer announcing that there would be no more exclusivity within the Call of Duty franchise. No more of having one platform get early access to the beta, no more PlayStation exclusive bundles, none of that stuff, right? Microsoft is now running the show, the previous deals have all expired, and everybody is going to get the same content at the same time regardless of their platform. That sounded pretty good at the time, right? Well, now it looks like they're bleeding players on PlayStation, because Microsoft, of all companies, has signed off on exclusive rewards for PlayStation players. Here we see the Warzone Season 2 PlayStation Plus pack, which gives PlayStation Plus users 2 bundles from the Call of Duty shop for free. Now, these bundles existed in the shop already. They're nothing new or anything like that, but if you have PlayStation Plus, you get both these bundles for free, and if you already bought them, well then, hard cheese, you get nothing new. But the point still stands. Why in the world, after they said Black Ops 6 would have no exclusivity, are PlayStation players getting free bundles for having PlayStation Plus? Believe me when I say this is not like a jealousy thing. I know there's some really sad people out there who are like part of the console wars and everything, and their entire personality is built around whether or not they bought an Xbox or a PlayStation. I could not give a shit less about that. I do not care about the skins themselves. I barely touch the game. The point I'm making is, why are PlayStation Plus members getting bundles for free when people on Xbox and PC would have to pay to get access to the same content? That sure as hell sounds like some form of exclusivity to me, when one platform gets free shit when other platforms do not. Player count must be really bad on PlayStation right now for Microsoft to greenlight this kind of bullshit, which is also likely why they're launching yet another free trial event for Call of Duty starting tomorrow, which of course will come with a side of double XP. Ladies and gentlemen, just what is even happening to this franchise anymore? I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback on all these controversies down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.